Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by the good folks at Vaughn Lane. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, who's on the road, it looks like. Be sure to tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking, get your questions in. Also, we're 86 days away from kickoff, so tell us who your favorite number 86 is. I had to dig in the history books a little bit for some 86s today, fellas. Not a lot of them over the past 10 or 15 years by any stretch of the imagination. But let's talk about softball for a moment, as the Longhorns, on what was probably the wildest softball game I've ever seen as far as calls and how it all went down and all that, end up winning 2-1 yesterday over Texas Tech.
Look, Najee Kennedy is really, really good. The Texas Tech pitcher is really good, really, really good. So if you're going to beat her, you have to scratch and claw your way to runs. You know, you just get that feeling. She's kind of got one of those players that has that feel on the mound, and she came with it yesterday. Longhorns, thanks to a brutal call, gave up one run in the fifth inning after getting out of a bases loaded, no out situation in the top of the first. The umpire called a runner on a stolen base out at second base for Texas Tech. Well, it then got challenged that it was obstruction. I don't know how they call obstruction typically in women's softball, but it didn't look like obstruction to me. I don't know how they do it, but they gave the runner second base. Tech then hit a single, and the runner scored from second base, giving Tech a 1-0 lead that, frankly, felt kind of insurmountable in that fifth inning, guys. I mean, it was like, whoa, well, there this game goes. It looks like Texas lost its chance. But then the sixth inning came about, and Tech went down in order. Texas got up to bat, 2 quick outs in the sixth inning for Texas. 2 quick outs. It was the bottom of the sixth, 2 outs, nobody on. And then Texas got 2 hits. One was a laced single into left field. Another one was an excuse me swing by Mia Scott that got her onto first base on a changeup. And then it kind of set the stage for, frankly, what was as cool a moment as you're going to see as a Texas fan. Texas had runners on second and third, and they were going to walk. Tech had decided to walk Reese Atwood, the All-American catcher for the University of Texas, who, by the way, had not had a hit in this College World Series. And Najee Kennedy, the All-American pitcher for Tech, kept pitching. The first 3 pitches were outside and up, but they weren't terribly off the plate, if that makes sense. And then the fourth one, she left over the plate, and Reese Atwood took it into left field it's kind of a grounder, left field grounder, and 2 runs scored. And all of a sudden, Texas is going into the into the seventh inning with a 2-1 lead. Another what I would call strange obstruction call. This one by the umpire in the seventh inning, but Texas and Teagan Kavan pitched a whale of a game. Hopefully we hear from her later today here on Coffee and Football, Blake. You got that set up. Yeah. At what time?
9 o'clock. Hey, so we talked about this headed into the game, and we talked about unforced errors. When there's 2 great pitchers on the mound, and both are great. By the way, Teagan Kavan's the only pitcher that hasn't given up an earned run, and I hope I don't jinx her in this College World Series. The only one. She's the only one. Kennedy has. It normally comes down to unforced errors if you got 2 great pitchers in softball on the mound. And Texas made 4 errors in that game. And Kavan is not, she's given up runs. She hadn't given up an earned run in the College World Series. It's all come off errors. So we kind of wondered, we talked about this. It's with 2 great pitchers, it's unforced errors. And so Texas didn't have their best game fielding last night and really kind of pushed Tech to get the run on the board. But then you had Kennedy, great player. I don't know anyway. She's kind of choked in the moment. I mean, it is what it is. She's got a chance to make up for it, but it is what it is. So, it is what it is. What else can you say about that? That's the worst unforced error in the game, was the one by arguably the best player in the game. And sometimes that's how sports goes. But it was an amazing game from the standpoint of what you guys talked about with the rule, which is the rule legally, but golly, man, that's tough to kind of get behind at that point when somebody's
They need to change the rule. That's ridiculous.
When somebody's out by 5 feet.
Yeah,
So trying to slide wide because she knew she was toast. I mean, I get the rule, but this is the games like this, when so much is on the line, is when what causes a little bit of a rule change in moving forward in the future. So game 2 tonight, it's going to be epic. It's going to be hard to match game 1, by the way. But unbelievable opportunity the Texas women have in front of them. 79% of the teams that win game 1 have won the national championship in the 3-game series.
They look good. They're ripe, man. They look like they're ready to play. I thought it was a good effort. Getting out of that first inning was maybe the key to the whole game. I mean, look, Tech loaded the bases in the first inning with no outs. Najee Kennedy was the batter, and she hit a ball to the third baseman, Mia Scott, who went home for the force out, and then Reese Atwood threw to first for the double play. That got Texas out of a big jam early, guys. A big jam. So I tell you what, that's going to be Texas is going to have to play defense, have to have good pitching again tonight, and they're going to have to find a way to get Najee Kennedy to get to her a little bit again today, like they did last night. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's be interesting, Jerry and Blake, what Texas can do against the Red Raiders. But we can say that Najee Kennedy's $1 million pitcher. That was $1 million mistake she made last night.
Yeah,
without a doubt. And they said that she had only intentionally walked one person all year, so she didn't have any. I mean, in softball, it's kind of weird. You still have to. I mean, baseball nowadays, you can just go award them the first base. Not in softball. And Reese Atwood there with the scream there took advantage of it. It's a big time game. It was fun to watch.
My other thought on that was, here's the really good thing for Texas. You don't know how the games are going to play out, right? We got some weird interference. I don't know if it's on my end. But Texas won a game last night without playing a clean game defensively. So that is a good sign for Texas, that they did not play their cleanest game defensively, and they still got to win. And by the way, what's not being talked about enough with this, Atwood, what she did to win that game, that is an ultimate. I can't use the term I want to use, but let's just say that took something in that situation, because the reality is they're trying to walk her. And if she hits that ball to the third baseman and she doesn't get a hit there, what are people saying today? And that's the great thing about sports, is she had the inner confidence and not the fear of failure to do what I don't know how many other people would have done in that situation. I want to say, I mean, like, the term I want to use, I can't use, but y'all know what I'm getting at. Like, that's you're in your head, you're saying, if this pitch is somewhere I can hit it, I'm going to hit it, knowing that if you fail, what people are going to say about it.
Yeah,
pretty ballsy.
No doubt. Hey, look, one word describes it, and this was our tweet last night. Legend. She came through in the clutch. She really did. Her and her teammates Teagan Kavan pitched a whale of a game. Mia Scott, great game at third base. Just an all around. I mean, look, you're going to win a national championship. It takes a couple things. It takes a little luck, right? Along the way, we've always discussed that. It takes a hellacious team, and it takes some key moments. And Texas got a key moment last night.
Hey, it's also worth mentioning that with Teagan's win last night, she has tied longtime friend of the program, Kat Osterman, as the most wins in the Women's College World Series. So very cool.
Nice.
All right, Bobby, before we move on, can you tell everyone about our sponsor today?
Yeah, absolutely. Vaughn Lane is the sponsor for On Texas Football. We appreciate them. They have, Blake and Jerry, they have daily rides to and from Austin, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth. If you need to get between those big Texas cities and want to ride in style, make sure you check out Vaughn Lane. Vaughn Lane is perfect. You can use OTF25 for a code, or OTF25, and get a $20 discount on any ride across the state. Also, they've just opened up more routes between Nashville, Knoxville, and Atlanta and Memphis as well. So they're moving around the country. Feels a little bit like an early Southwest Airlines, back when Southwest Airlines was a little bit easier to do and TSA lines weren't so hard on everybody, and getting to and from was a little bit easier. No long check lines, etc. Vaughn Lane is the easy way to go. They have power at each seat, as well as not only do they have power, they also have reclining seats. They have hot towels for you. They make it easy and fun. You can either enjoy yourself and watch a show on the bus, or if you want to, sit back, relax, take a little nap. No worrying when you're on Vaughn Lane. They get you to and from Austin, Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth. They now have places going out of Plano, as well as the Woodlands. Check them out, vaughnlane.com.
Hey, here's a key question. Will Bobby eat a corn dog with mayo live if Texas wins tonight?
Love you guys, but no, that's reserved for football. I might eat a corn dog.
I'm in Austin. Obviously, we have Texas camp tonight, recruiting weekend. Maybe a celebration. We'll see. But I will do that. I'll find a way.
You like doing it though. It's not a negative for you.
Not a bad breakfast. Let's be real.
Not a negative for you.
All right, well, let's move on here and talk a little recruiting this morning. Jerry, what do you have for us?
Yeah, so it's elite camps today, which we'll get to later in the show. We'll talk about the 2027 quarterback recruiting. But we're going to look at Dylan Berryman today because it's defensive line with Corey Wells from Petal, Mississippi coming in. Lamar Brown from Southern Lab, which we've watched both those guys. We haven't watched Dylan Berryman in a while.
He just tackled two people, Jerry, on a very good play.
I know. This is Dylan Berryman out of Monroe, Ouachita. Very strong guy. I was through there in January, and man, I mean, I think I could punch him 30 times and he might not feel it. He is really built. He is a zero tech over the ball player. The interesting thing with his recruitment is this is his last visit, and you can see there, right? He's not really going to be a pass rush guy. He's going to be an over the ball player that's going to take up two, that's going to be a pocket pusher. He's not a guy that's going to run the arc you're not going to play him at the 3, but he is a guy who can play over the ball and is very strong, is tough to move, plays with his eyes up. But a guy that body slams. This is his last official visit scheduled. We'll see what that means. He's been to Purdue early. I think he's at Houston right now before heading to Texas. A lot of family members are coming on this visit to Texas. But one of the top D linemen in the country, guys, Texas has been on a while. One of the top zero techs in the country is what I would call him. And we'll see. I think this is going to come down to Texas and Purdue for him, barring the unforeseen. So I know Barry Odom really likes this guy. Barry Odom, pretty good defensive coach, by the way, pretty good evaluator of defensive players. They've really been all in on him for a long time. And it's been a weird recruitment because some schools he just hadn't shown interest in back. USC has kind of been in this one, but I don't think there's going to be an OV there. But I think this could come down to Texas and Purdue, and we'll see if he scheduled anything after this weekend. But Texas has 3 quality defensive linemen on campus this weekend. This one, Berryman, over the ball player. Corey Wells from Petal, Mississippi, who's an Ole Miss lean coming into this with Texas, Auburn, and Mississippi State in it. Tennessee and Florida State offered, but he's not taking visits there. Corey Wells can play over the ball, can also maybe shade out a little bit. And then you have Lamar Brown, who is just one of the top 2-way linemen in the country, who out of Southern Lab, who just visited Miami. He's got Texas, then A&M, then LSU. Interesting thing with Lamar Brown, A&M's the one that's been recruiting him on the defensive line the longest. That changed for Texas when Lowland Clark got to Texas, being a guy from Baton Rouge. So we'll see. Could Texas pull off a Jonah Williams there? We'll find out.
All right. I think our first special guest this morning is ready. I'm going to bring him in.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is good stuff right here. Former Longhorn Chris Whaley. Chris, how's it going this morning?
Doing great. How are y'all?
Hey, Chris, I wish it was 96 days away from Texas football, right? Playing Ohio State, but it's 86. We got you about 10 days too late. Welcome to the show, big guy.
10 days. Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, we wanted to have you on. We have a bunch of former players on from time to time. You've got a son now that is going to be a recruitable athlete. We've had Jermichael Finley on with his son, Caden Finley. We had some other guys on. We want to talk about him in a minute. But first, we want to talk to you about your time at Texas, and specifically about that time you had a little interception in the Cotton Bowl where you tumbled into the end zone against the Sooners. What do you remember about that play, and what do you remember about your time at Texas, Chris?
Man, bittersweet moment. Kind of when I did my interview, just like I said, not too many times you get to see a defensive tackle drop back into coverage. At the time, defensive coordinator Greg Davis was real high, on using everybody. So, man, just that opportunity to drop back, and when I saw that ball come to me, man, it was a great deal. Man, I miss being at the University of Texas. I always tell my kids I wish I can go back. It was some of the best times of my life. I follow everything that they do, follow everything that they got going on, man, and rooting for them every Saturday.
Hey, Chris, I wanted to ask you, but now that you're coaching, okay, you were a record-setting running back coming out of Madisonville. What does 34-year-old Chris Whaley teach the high school kids now that maybe you didn't wish somebody would have taught you coming out of high school, man? Because you're now on the other side of that. You were a highly nationally recruited prospect.
The biggest thing is I tell them you got to want it for yourself. The biggest, everybody gets up and does the workouts that the coaches have for them, but it's what you're doing on your extra time. And that's one thing I always harp on my kids about, and especially CJ. He's getting recruited heavily right now. Yeah. And that's why I tell him if his dreams to go play college ball and have a chance to go play pro ball, he got to want it for himself. He can't expect me to wake him up every day to want to go work. He has to have that drive for himself, and kind of the message I pass to our kids now. We can't do it for you. 34-year-old Chris Whaley can't get back out there and play anymore. My days are over. So, we're going to give y'all all the tools to be successful. You guys got to want it and be able to go out and do it all 100% yourself.
So you're from Madisonville, small town guy. How did you end up in Atlanta, Texas? What's going on there? What took you up?
I was in New Boston.
What's that?
Well, I had an opportunity come up in New Boston, Texas, is up in this area as well, as a defensive coordinator. And then I was over there for a year. And then Atlanta reached out and offered me the defensive coordinator over here. So I accepted this job.
All right, so I got to ask you, CJ's a heck of an athlete, Chris. I mean, there's videos of him dunking the ball with his elbow at the rim this year as a freshman, 6'4", 190 pounds, plays there in Atlanta. tell us about CJ, because he's got offers, I believe, from Arkansas, Mississippi State, TCU, Houston, a couple others in football here. Kind of, what do you see from him? Can you project a position for him long-term? And what does he love more, football or basketball? Because he's a really talented athlete. We're going to play some basketball stuff with him in a second.
Yeah. And I think the sport that he loves the most is one that he says his dreams are to go play football and hopefully at the University of Texas one day. Man, I think he can play on both sides of the football. I like him, as an edge rusher. I'm turned into a defensive guy. So I like him as an edge rusher, defensive end. That's what he plays for us on defense. And a lot of the colleges that's been coming in and offering him have been asking about him, about his defensive film, and does he have, videos of him rushing off the edge. So we've been kind of focusing on that. But, man, he got a lot of athleticism, a lot of upside of him. Great kid. Always doing good things, man, and got a smile on his face. Just the way he carries himself. But he works his butt off, and he's determined to be great. It's a blessing to be his dad, and just to watch him grow.
Hey, so Chris, what's interesting about this is, obviously, for people that don't know your story, you were one of the top-ranked running backs in the country coming out of high school, and yes, obviously you wanted to play running back. But some of us that were in the business, I went to see it in Madisonville a few times. We're like, man, this guy's going to be really big one day. Like, this guy could weigh 300 pounds one day. So now that you've gone through that process of thinking back to your recruitment and how you ended up being a tremendous defensive line with the natural growth, kind of what is your message to CJ? Because you have a unique perspective on that, because he's 6'4", 190 now, but he ain't going to be close to that when he's 22.
Yeah. No, I don't think. Right. I mean, just to be open to everything. Like right now, with it being in high school and him being so young, of course we can focus on playing both sides of the ball, and maximizing our opportunity. But as the time gets closer to decision to go get recruited and decide where we're gonna go to college at, I would like him to start focusing on a position. Like for me, I didn't play defense in high school. I wish I would have. I had a lot to learn when I got to Texas and switched over to defense. I think for him playing both ways throughout his high school career is going to be better. I think it'll be a tremendous help for him. For me, I had to learn everything about defense. I had to learn the defensive tackle position, in which I had a great teacher in Bo Davis. Shout out to Bo, one of the greatest coaches I've got to be around. But I think he has an opportunity to be special on both sides.
Chris, what year in high school is he? Is he a freshman right now, going to be a sophomore, or a
Yes,
sophomore
sir.
going to be a junior?
He's a freshman going to be a sophomore. He's a freshman going to be a sophomore.
And he's already playing varsity in multiple sports. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. He was varsity football, basketball, and track.
All right, Chris, the apple does not fall far from the tree, my man. That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Hey, so Chris, we got to ask you. We got to ask you real quick. We got to ask you real quick what you like, what you've seen from Sark, Texas, and how often do you get back down to Texas?
It's been a while. Me and my wife have actually been talking about trying to make a trip down. But man, I love it. He's getting the best out of those players. You can tell that's definitely a culture change. And I enjoy watching them. And it's been some rough years. Rolling out of Max Brown tenure and just the other coaches that's been in. But it seemed that the players have really responded well to Sark. Like I say, they love him. They love each other. And it's just a different type of culture down there, man. And I'm glad Texas football is back.
Chris, I've got to ask you, as it relates to that, who do you keep in contact with? Anybody from your old team? What do y'all do these days? You talk to anybody else in coaching, et cetera?
Well, best friend. So me and him often just got a coach job in high school. So I talked to Malcolm Brown not too long ago. Me and him text every now and then, and he just got a head coaching job down there in Austin at a private school. So those of guys that and then Marquise, me and him usually text every now and then. I ain't talked to him in a while, but yeah, well, I mean, I got a few guys that I talk to every now and then, but me and Barrett Matthews, we talk often, just about every other day.
He's number 89, not 96 or 86, guys. Chris, thank you so much for joining us,
Yes, sir,
dude.
89.
Congrats on your situation in Atlanta. Good luck to you, and good luck to your son CJ as well. Hopefully we profile him again here more often in the years to come, dude.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, hook him, buddy. There we go. Good stuff. It had a little bit of a connection problem there at the end, but overall, I think people got a feel for him. He's a good guy.
You know what's crazy? So I was at, I think I told this story on here before, but I was at Carthage a few weeks ago, and I was seeing KJ Edwards and some of their young kids, and Coach Surratt, who had been on the show, was like, "Have you seen Chris Whaley's son?" And I was like, I said, I haven't seen him in person yet, and he broke out videos. That the videos of him dunking the basketball, I was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, yeah, he's a freshman. We've seen him up close a couple times. They didn't play him in football, but I think basketball tournaments around there. And he said Chris Whaley's kid. And he told me he was, I didn't know if Chris was still at New Boston or when he got I didn't know he was at Atlanta at the time. And he was like, yeah, Chris is the DC in Atlanta. And he said his son has got a chance to be a national recruit. He said he is like a big time athlete at that age. So that was awesome to bring Chris on. Obviously DC at Atlanta High School. They play a tough schedule now. Pleasant Grove. You get up there in the East Texas into those districts and you're playing people. So best of luck to the Atlanta Jackrabbits this year. I think Randy Garner came through there, was a national recruit that went to Arkansas over Texas and Texas A&M back in the day, Bobby, in about 95. But that's really cool. We'll be keeping up. We'll have to run up there and see CJ this year.
All right, here we got some super chats. We got some questions. Of course, we got Teagan Kavan coming on here in about 15 minutes. But first, let's jump over to a super chat. Going back to recruiting for a moment, Jerry. This is from Jose. Thank you, Jose. Good morning, crew. Jerry, Bobby, is there any particular reason why Texas doesn't do end of May official visits, or is it just the way that Sark does things?
It's the way Sark does things. They like to go last or second to last in the OVs. They like to have those last couple weekends. Those are their biggest weekends. I think there's 25 guys coming in the 13th through 15th and around 16 or 17 on the 20th. So that covers 42 official visits, or 41 or 42 official visits. A couple of those will fall off, obviously already have. But that's when they like to do things, Bobby. I think they like to kind of get the lay of the land and see where everything's at and where things are moving and try to play a late game. And it's interesting because Clemson and Georgia play the early game. They had huge visit weekends last weekend. Clemson had, I don't think they have 6-7 official visitors the rest of June. They had like everybody. Dabo's a very early guy. Kirby likes that May 30th, June 1st weekend. Others kind of mix and match. Miami, Florida, Ohio State, they're more mixing and matching. But Clemson and Georgia are the ones that go early, big early. But Sark just prefers the late game, as he does in all facets of recruiting, Bobby.
He does. And I think that the other thing it allows for what we saw last weekend, he had 22 scholarship offers. So he gets his elite camps out of his sophomore and junior elite camps out of the way, Jerry. So then he can focus the rest of the summer on the upcoming class, the class of 2026, as well as the football team. So I think that by doing it this way, it separates some time frames for him, if that makes sense. You're in Austin right now, Jerry. They're going to have another elite camp this weekend before they start bringing in players on Friday afternoon for the 2-day official visit. We talked about this in the official visits that are coming up, Jerry. You said they had 3 big defensive linemen. We've talked a lot about who all's coming in this week. Xavier Crowell, a big name guy, the running back out of Jackson, Alabama. He's big time. Devon Benjamin, defensive back out of California. Locally, Jamarian Carlton. You mentioned Lamar Brown as well out of Baton Rouge. Malachi Lee, Jerry, seems to be getting a lot of play nationally nowadays. And to your point, and you've been saying this for more than a week now, we know that there are guys rated higher than Malachi Lee in high school football right now. That may not be the case when it comes to college football coaches. They may have him as high as anybody can have a player, not saying that he's better necessarily, just that he's ranked as highly and thought of just as well. What is the latest on Lee and some of these guys coming in this weekend?
Yeah, so with Malachi Lee, if I'm like, Michigan was the pick early on for the people that follow all the picks, right? They were early picks, but this recruitment's following a similar path to Brandon Baker for me. And I'm not saying Malachi Lee is going to go to Texas. Here's my point. I think Malachi Lee's trending more to SEC right now. Well, after Brandon Baker kind of moved on from Oregon, it really came down to Ohio State, Texas, Georgia. So he took the 2 SEC visits and the 1 Big Ten visit. Well, Malachi Lee is taking 3 SEC visits. He was at Alabama. He's already been at Georgia. He did that one in April, early. He was at Alabama, number of family members, Tua's family, obviously trying to help get him to Bama. He was at Bama last weekend. Now he goes to Texas this weekend. Doesn't have anything scheduled on the 13th and has Michigan scheduled on the 20th if he makes it that far. So what's interesting is it seems to be trending more SEC right now. But this is what I've always said about Malachi Lee, and throw the rankings away on this kid. If you're Stacy Searles, you don't get on a plane and go from Athens to Honolulu for just your regular offensive lineman. There's plenty of offensive linemen in the Southeast, in Texas, up the Northeast, big time guys. If you're Kyle Flood, as many guys as you're recruiting, you don't get on a plane and fly to Honolulu just for another guy. This is not what happens in recruiting. This guy's an elite player in the college's mind. Alabama the same, because this is full days lost on the road to get out there to see him for an offensive line coach in the month of May when you're limited. You have limited days to be on the road. So those schools making that move to go out there to see him, they don't think he's just whatever he's ranked, the 250th best player in the country or something. The colleges have a much different opinion of him. And so just something to remember, which way it's going to go, we'll see. He hadn't been to Texas before. This will be his first visit. So the Georgias, the Alabamas, these are just kind of some first visits for him. So we'll see where it ends up. But if I'm Michigan, I'm feeling a little nervous. I'm not saying he can't go there. I'm feeling a little nervous because 3 SEC visits are scheduled all before mine. And we saw how Brandon Baker ended up playing out, going SEC way at the end of the day. And obviously Brandon Baker at Texas now. But we'll see what happens with Malachi Lee. But Michigan was the pick early on, and if I'm Michigan, I'm feeling nervous with 3 SEC visits. He's a big-time prospect. And, again, he's not a guy that – he doesn't have a full season on Huddle. Like, we pull Huddle. He's not one of those guys. He's not out there on social media. They've started posting visit photos now, but he's not out there being boisterous on social media, posting all these clips all the time. That's just not who he is. So a lot of times those guys don't get the attention in recruiting that they really deserve for their talent level. And I think Malachi Lee's one of those guys.
Okay, let's see here. Bobby, will you tell everyone today about Omaha Steaks?
Yeah, this is my favorite Father's Day gift. Omaha Steaks makes it easy to deliver an unforgettable gift for the best dad in the world, yours. And when you shop online and pick up in-store, it's never too late to find the perfect gift. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by an unconditional 100% money-back guarantee. Every steak perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand-cut by master butchers. Grass-fed, grain-finished beef has more marbling for exceptional flavor and is the choice of steakhouses and professional chefs around the world. The fan favorite filet mignon has earned the coveted distinction of USDA certified tender, and their all-new smash burgers are built for the grill. When it comes to Father's Day, some things never change. Dads want steak. A recent survey shows 75% of Americans agree there's no better way to spend Father's Day than grilling with the family. From certified tender steaks to burgers and more, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience, guaranteed to secure your spot as Dad's favorite. This Father's Day, Give Dad the world's best steak experience with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for guaranteed perfect gifts that deliver legendary quality. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code ONTexas at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code ONTexas at checkout. See site for details. Give your dad the gift that shows you really know him and really care. omahasteaks.com.
And Jerry, if you'll let everyone know about Gooder.
Man, I really hope I get to open the show with these on tomorrow morning, by the way. All right, so it's the read time first. By the way, I'm going to start this with the Gooders were on the entire drive from Houston to Austin yesterday because I felt the sunburn. You know, you've been on those long drives. You feel the kind of the sunburn. I had to wear the shades the whole time. Why? That's another reason you get your Gooders driving in the Texas heat or Florida heat, wherever you're at these days. Stylish sunnies starting only $25 a pair, 1 year free warranty, 30-day free returns. I just have to read it. You don't need it. They're lightweight and comfortable, 100% polarized, no slip, no bounce. You see it here. Vibrant colors. Sleek styles. There's a pair of Gooders for every personality out there, designed for both everyday wear and active individuals that love to run, hike, bike, and much, much more, which leads you to the question of when would you wear your Gooders? On a run, cycling, going to the beach, summer vacation for sure. You don't want to lose $400 glasses in the ocean, $25, lose them, throw on another pair. Somebody will get a good pair of Gooders when they find them in the water. Playing pickleball, playing tennis, watching the French Open, maybe, I don't know. Playing tennis on a hike, definitely on a hike, those sunny days, because they're so affordable. You don't have to worry about losing or breaking them. You can have a pair for every occasion. If you need to do a pair of sunnies, Gooder is giving On Texas football listeners free shipping. You can go to gooder.com/OnTexas and use code ONTexas for free shipping. Gooder offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. I had to read it, and I added a 1,000% satisfaction. That's me personally.
Thank you for that.
We need them to make national championship glasses.
That's a good idea.
Gooder to do.
Jenny says stalking recruits. Yes, that's a good one, Jenny Burton. Yes. And we're doing a show. Here's the hard thing about doing shows with Gooders on is the computer overheats in 5 minutes. So if you're outdoors doing shows, the Gooders go to waste because your computer overheats. But we're going to try one of those this weekend. I can guarantee it.
Well, I got some baseball news. We'll start with the latest. And Tommy Farmer, the outfielder who saw quite a bit of playing time, has announced his intentions to enter the portal. As I told y'all yesterday, Texas is looking to upgrade across the field. Doesn't matter what position, doesn't matter what your name is. If they find a player that they really like, they are going to try to bring them in. And that paid off yesterday as they got a commitment. I mentioned that they were also going to be hosting someone yesterday. Couldn't say the name at the time, but now I can. Josh Livingston, the infielder from Wichita State. He visited yesterday and then committed shortly after that visit. Texas very high on him. He's a guy that can play first or third, and then also could even be seen as a designated hitter as well. I think he went 284 on the season this past season, along with 15 home runs. So that's the first of what I'm sure is many more to come. I will tell y'all, no visitors today for Texas baseball. So, you know, there won't be anything incoming as far as the portal goes there. So,
Gotcha.
But good news for sure.
Farmer hit 249 last season. So it may have been a situation where Texas is just looking to upgrade.
Correct.
So I think that's where that thing was headed.
And I do want to answer this real quick because I've been asked this a lot. Do you think Sloss goes in a different direction for a hitting coach? Woodcrest asked. No. Texas is not getting rid of Tulo. That is not happening. So, and one other one that I wanted to answer, if I can find here, because I didn't expect to answer it right now. Oh gosh, where did it go? Let's see. Oh, Colby TS says, is it true Texas is expanding the softball stadium to 27,000 seats? No, that is also not true. And that rendering that you probably saw with that is the AI, where it looks like they actually took part of DKR and then turned it into a softball stadium. So not true at all. All right, we got more super chats to get to. Of course, we got Teagan Kavan coming on in just a moment. So let's take this one here from Jack. He says, Jerry, Bobby, Blake, How many commits do we get in the next 3 weeks, in your opinion?
Well, somebody asked it, asked, was it 3.5 or 4.5? I think it was 3.5. And I took the over on 3.5 by the end of the month. But a lot of these kids are announcing in July.
Yeah. Jerry, I think that you get maybe 2 layups in there if you count perhaps the punter and the kicker. Texas at 8 currently. I think the over under of that is more like 6. So if I gave you the number 6, would you say over under?
Don't know.
See, you're wanting to just give yourself a 3.5 over under. It's
that's
over.
I feel good about that.
For the number, guys.
Wow, it's like this is just a crazy cycle. I mean, like a kid could go visit a school, and Texas thinks they're in a good position and somebody offers some massive deal. It's over in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So it's over in the blink of an eye. But I do think some dominoes will fall at certain positions. Will all these offensive linemen drag out their recruitments until July? Normally,
they typically don't. They typically
normally
don't.
not the case, right? When after you hit 2 or 3 visits, a lot of these linemen are like, "I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm ready to be done with this process." There's not many OLs that take the entire 5, 6, 7 OVs. So I think 3 after you get the 3 or 4 now. I think next weekend is the big weekend for Texas to see if any kids move off timelines and where they really sit, because there's the 13th and 20th have some big visits coming up. And I think we'll know more after this weekend where some things are going to be positionally for Texas headed in those 2 weekends, and where some of their targets are at with some of the other schools they visited, because most of these kids will have 2. This will be their 2nd or 3rd OV this weekend. And sometimes that's when kids get sick of the process, get an NIL deal they want, and they move on. So we'll see. But I would say 6. I mean, 6 is not a bad number. If you want 5.5, if you want 5.5, could Texas have 6 by the end of this month? I could see them having 6, but I can't guarantee it.
I think. Look, Texas sits at 13 or 14 at the end of the month. They're at 8 now. That's my ballpark figure based on what I know.
Gilbert Martinez follow-up. Are we looking at another type 5 class? I think so. And the thing I would say is, again, this recruiting is going to go through senior season and into November leading up to the December signing period. So keep that in mind. But I do think as long as Texas has 23, 24, 25 prospects in the class, that they will sign a top 5 class. Yes. I'll be surprised if they don't.
And Dwayne wants to know, when is Turntime visiting again?
June 20th. He's June 20th that last weekend. He's at A&M this weekend. A&M has Turntime, Zayden Crimpin, and Sam Roseborough, offensive line targets, who are all going to visit Texas the 13th and 20th. They're all at A&M this weekend. Turntime then goes to Michigan the 13th, Texas the 20th.
There you go. And I just, by the way, guys, got a note. Teagan Kavan running just a couple minutes late, but she should be here in a few minutes. So we still will have her on.
If anybody can be late to the show, it's her.
We'll take another picture circled tonight. That's
She probably only had like 1,000 texts to return last night.
Yeah.
We will take another question. Oh, no, we won't, because here she is. I think she is ready. So I'm going to bring her in. How's it going, Teagan?
Hello. Good. How are you guys?
Congratulations. Last night you pitched a whale of a game, young lady.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was it like? I mean, you're pitching. You're trying to keep your nerves calm probably while chaos is going on around you in that 6th inning. What were you thinking about while you were in the dugout sitting there watching your teammates get the job done, Reese Atwood with the big hit, bringing it home? What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm trying to stay calm. Obviously, it's tough and it's a big environment, but trying to do my best to use some breathing techniques, stay calm, and my defense kept me locked in. But I knew we'd come through, and especially when Caden and Mia got on, I mean, that it was ready to happen. And so I knew if we passed the bat, I said that in a prior interview before the game, if we could just pass the bat, we'd make something happen. And so once I saw us string a few things together, and then of course it couldn't happen in a better way.
So I gotta follow up and ask: did you think she was going to swing at the pitch? I mean, because you've thrown a lot of pitches in your life, okay? Even though you're only a sophomore in college, did you think she would swing at that?
Honestly, I don't know. I thought potentially after I saw the first one, but I think Coach Singh was in the dugout telling her like if it's their swing, and then after she threw the first one's like I feel like kind of like mid 60s, and then after I think she heard that Coach Singh kind of said that she threw the other one a little harder, but it was still kind of over the middle. So then Ashton was next to me, and she was like, what if she hits it right now? And then boom, like literally half a second later she hits it. It was insane.
You guys started off the game a little touch and go. Tech loaded the bases on you in the first inning, and then Mia Scott makes a great play at third base. Y'all double it up, and then I don't want to use the term cruised, but it seemed like after that you got going and into your kind of mental state where you're just kind of, I don't know if mowing them down is the right term, but it was clear you had gotten the nerves over with and were just going and doing your job. Did you feel that as well?
Yeah, it was big to get out of that inning with no damage, especially when we're facing Nyjah. And so, I mean, Mia and Reese on that play, that fired me up. And I think it was loud. Obviously, a little more nerves for a championship game. And so after that inning, I think I just needed to take a step back and be like, it's fine. And realistically, they got 2 hits, but they weren't like creaming the ball. And so I knew I still had them off balance, and I could still work from there. It wasn't like that inning broke any confidence for me. And so I think if anything, it just made me realize I needed to calm down and just let my defense have my back behind me and settle down a little bit, because this is supposed to be fun.
So I got to ask you, because this is the first time you've come on the show. Thank you very much for taking the time. When did softball become your sport? Because you were also a hooper growing up, right? I mean, you played multiple sports. When did it become softball for you?
Yeah, I think it was in like 7th or 8th grade. It just, I started to like, when it was basketball season, I started to like wish it was softball season. And so I think that's when I realized that softball was kind of the one. Prior to that, I liked the difference in the sports. And then once I got to there, I was like just waiting around for it to be softball season. So
I guess my follow-up to that is, when did you realize you could become in softball one of the top prospects in the country? When did that kind of register with you?
I think probably when I got to high school, and probably around sophomore year when we started going to camps and stuff or college like showcase tournaments that colleges were at, and people started asking my coaches about me or just crowding around the games. And it was kind of shocking. I went to my first camp at University of Nebraska, and I was like almost backed out of it because I was so nervous when I was in 8th grade. And then it ended up being great, and it kind of showed me that I was just even with everybody else, if not ahead of them. And so I think that gave me some confidence. And then the travel ball tournaments, just when your coach comes up to you and tells you that these X many coaches are interested, it kind of was surreal.
Teagan, I got to go back to the game last night. I got to ask you, what was the feeling on the field after the game? It looked like you guys were having a party. Was it like Nyjah is a great pitcher, right? And a great performer, et cetera. What's it like when you get a win, a team win like that over a pitcher as good as she is?
It's huge. I mean, I think that's probably the most fun and interesting game we've played all season. And so obviously, especially on this stage and what's at stake, it just means so much more. And it was so fun. Definitely the most fun I've probably had with the team yet this season. And we got on the bus, and Ashton was like, this is fun. Now imagine like when we win, if we win. So I can't wait.
So we're going to take a couple of chat questions from the chat. We're going to start with this because I think 7 or 8 people have asked this. So sorry, I'm asking Zane Petty. He hit it first. Do you still talk to Caitlin Clark? For those that don't know the background on this, they went to the same high school. So when Downing Catholic puts them out, they're really great. And here's a picture. So I guess Caitlin kind of coached you in youth basketball. So do y'all still keep up with each other? The chat's asking about that.
Not personally, no. Her younger brother was in my grade in high school, and we're friends, so keep up with him a little bit, but not necessarily her. But last season, she gave us a shout out that she was watching. So, and I know her and her family, they tune in. So.
And Buck Travis asked this: how many players at the Women's College World Series do you recognize from travel ball tournaments? Do you have any friends that are playing in the for other teams?
Yeah, there's someone on every team. Not necessarily I necessarily played with on Tech per se, but all the other teams, at least someone I know of crossed paths with, seen at a camp, or even played with. Yeah, it's really a cool softball community. I mean, sure, it's like all sports. It's kind of a small community once you get in it and get to know everyone.
So I get. Go ahead, Bobby.
No, look, I'm just amazed that you're able to come on this morning after a big game like that last night. I think I was going to tell you, look, I think all of Longhorn Nation rooting for you guys. Hopefully, you guys come out on top, and just, if we could say anything, it's just good luck. Go out there and kick butt and try to keep doing what you're doing. It's obviously working. Coach has got you guys going in the right direction, and y'all are leading the way. And it was a heck of a game last night. I stayed glued to my chair a little bit. So congratulations.
So I got a couple more questions, because we ask Coach White this every time he's come on the show. So after a big win, what's your go-to meal? People always talk about this in the chat. They want to know what's your go-to. And by the way, how many? I set the over/under on, let's say 403.5. How many texts did you get after last night? Congrats, Tex.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I didn't count, but and definitely probably under 100 at least text, personal text. On social media it's a little different, but personal text, under 100. But a go-to meal last night, I honestly just went to bed. We had our team meal that we got, like chicken fingers catered, so that was good. But yeah, and we always love when we get the less healthy options. So but
you're on the right show.
Yeah.
Well, you're Jerry asking about afterwards, but Drew wants to know: are there any pregame rituals for you or the team? What happens before the game?
Ooh. We always are playing a bunch of music in the locker room before. Vic Hunter is normally on aux, just getting us ready before the game. Nothing too crazy. At home, we'll play some games. We might play like spike ball. The managers have it here, but not this time. I don't know. We go back and forth, at least here. Nothing like no crazy ritual, but we just have fun. We're never like serious, and so it's always just a good time, having fun, listening to music, or just messing around with each other.
And then I promised them I would read this to you. It's a super chat from D. Herring. It says, "What's up, guys? My 9-year-old daughter, Henley, is a pitcher and a huge Teagan fan. She's bringing a bracelet for her to tonight's game. It would be amazing if you let her know. We will be in the outfield in section 22. So I'm letting you know, Teagan."
Okay, cool. I'll look out.
Teagan, best of luck to you guys. Seriously.
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime opportunity tonight and maybe tomorrow as well. So good luck to you, and congratulations on everything you've accomplished thus far.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Hook 'em horns. We got to make Blake, you put it out yesterday, Texas softball 4-0 after having a guest on our show. Hopefully Teagan makes it 5-0 after tonight.
They are undefeated when they come on Texas football the following game. So if there was ever a game for that to continue on, it's definitely tonight's game.
We got our pregame ritual.
Hey, we got to bring up the super chat from my guy Jason Watts, who we grew up down the street from each other down in Friendswood.
Oh, here we go. Jason Watts. Here's my poor man Cody Campbell attempt. Congrats on a great game, Teagan, and once again, great job by OTF getting big time guests on the regular. Hook 'em.
Somebody said this in the chat, and I looked around, but the problem is I'm in a hotel room. Somebody said, get the lampshade. If I tear a lampshade off one of these lights, I'll probably get, I'll have to send the tab to Bobby for that, so I better not.
Jason Watson is going to be paying for a lampshade instead of a super chat. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, man.
No, Chris Whaley, I want to go back. Chris Whaley, Teagan Kavan. One of the things we do try to do is bring in guests every so often that you guys will enjoy. Chris Whaley, Jerry, we both followed him out of high school. Always had a smile on his face. He was one of those guys that he just always did. And you could kind of tell said he's 34 now. You still feel the same way after watching him. Teagan, obviously, from ESPN last night, she even admitted it's a big stage. Those things, it's fun to get a player's perspective, guys that have been there, done that before, and see where they're at now and what's going on. But appreciate that, Jason. And we try to bring in guests. Blake, thank you for bringing in Teagan. Yes. And Jerry, thanks for setting up Chris Whaley as well. So,
by the way, Roe has something. That foul home run rattled Kennedy. That ball was really close. I mean, that was really close.
I agree on that. Also, a couple of other people we need to say thank you to. I put this up during the deal. Miracle Martinez, thank you for your super chat, along with Bryson. Jackson S., I didn't get to yours to ask her. My apologies. I didn't see it. Why do pitchers seem to want to be left alone in game? It's a mental deal, I think. You're in that space and you don't want to be bothered.
It's a game of superstitions for sure.
Yeah. And just, she even talked about doing some mental breathing exercises, Jerry.
Yeah.
After that sixth inning, she's all the chaos around her and all the excitement around her. She's sitting there in the dugout. After all that happens, she's trying to go within herself and try to get ready for the seventh inning. Because she's the opposite of, she wants nothing exciting to happen while she's pitching, right? She wants the opposite of excitement. Whereas when they're batting, you want excitement. So, I get it. That's what I think. I agree with Blake. Just mental fortitude type thing.
Yeah, for sure. And then one other one, I need to say thank you to Jack. He says, burger money for Blake's boys. Blake shushed me this morning, elevated me to Joe Z territory. Thanks. Thank you, Jack.
So Dave actually has something, and I actually revealed last night that Mia Scott's been playing with a torn ACL this season. I did not know that.
She scored from second.
Yeah.
But she turned.
Yeah.
Man, if that's really the case, it's a true torn ACL,
I'm asking.
That's ridiculous. She's playing third base like a boss. I know that much. I mean, she's made 3 or 4 plays in this World Series where, they're legit big time plays. That you couldn't have done it better. The double play that she started in the first inning, she charged the ball, caught it away from her body, and still charged. She doesn't charge that ball and lets it play her. It's just one out at home, maybe.
Yeah.
The way she charged it, and just a good play. Just a good play.
One other softball super chat, fellas. Another one from Bryson. Bryson, thank you again. I think Hunter's due for a home run. If she gets the barrel on the ball, so much power, it's going yard. So we hope. We definitely hope.
7:00 tonight. Get a little little women's softball up. Jerry, we talked yesterday a little bit about football. We need to do that as well. But first, let's talk a little pesty. Tired of dealing with bugs, ants, insects of any kind around the house? Nobody likes it, but using a professional service can often be more expensive than you want. That's why there's Pesty, an affordable, pet-friendly self-service solution. Other pest control companies charge over $800 a year, but with Pesty, you can get started at just $35 per treatment, like me and my wife did, with a customized plan based on your location, bugs, and climate. Pesty is easy to use, very easy to use. Everything you need comes in one simple package. The kit includes a sprayer, mixing bag, gloves, and with instructions you can complete in a very short period of time. Pesty gets rid of over 100 types of bugs, spiders, ants, roaches, you name it. Pesty is kid and pet friendly. The pesticides that they ship are fully registered and have been used in hospitals and schools across the country. Pesty offers a 100% bug-free guarantee or your money back. If the bugs don't go away, they'll give you a free refund. Nobody likes being bugged, especially by bugs. And when they do show up, you want them gone fast. With Pesty's do-it-yourself pest control, you can protect your home easily and at a quarter of the cost. Protect your home from bugs with Pesty. Go to pesty.com/OTF for an extra 10% off your order. That's pestie.com/OTF for an extra 10% off. Thank you so much for sponsoring On Texas Football. That's pesty.com/OTF.
All right. And we need to tell everyone about our other sponsor today, and that's Huel. And if you're constantly on the move or maybe just tired of skipping meals, they got you covered. Huel's Black Edition Ready to Drink is a total game changer. It's a complete meal in one bottle, 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, high fiber, low sugar. You're going to feel full, focused, and ready for your day. There's no prep, no cleanup. Just grab it and go. Now, Huel's already sold over 500 million meals around the world. And now it's your turn to try it. New customers can get 15% off plus a free gift at Huel.com when you use promo code ONTexas. And I've told y'all for weeks now, Huel is a lifesaver for me. I am very busy chasing around my 3 boys, and so it's my go-to. You just grab it out of the fridge, give it a good check, and you're ready to go. So start saving time and money without compromising your nutrition today with this exclusive offer for new customers. Again, that's 15% off plus a free gift when you use promo code ONTexas at Huel.com. That's Huel, Huel.com, promo code ONTexas. Please see the description for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition bottled.
Hit a couple of questions here. Sark After Dark, has Jonah Williams started summer workouts? We'll double check on that today, but we had heard that he was going to get a few days off to kind of rest the hamstring, get kind of refreshed and get ready to go for summer workouts. So we'll double check on that today. Gus Fleener, David Pollock seems to think Texas has the best D-line. I actually saw where Pollock said this, best D-line in the nation. He took issues with the PFF rankings on his podcast. I do too, as far as I think Texas is ranked higher than what PFF has. And are they best in the country? I don't know. I mean, I can see why people say that because you guys know I've been on board with I think Texas is going to be better on the interior than a year ago, and that's no slight to the guys that went in the 2nd and 4th round and really good players like had good seasons like Jermaine Lole. I just think it's natural progression of the program. I think they're going to have better depth, more guys. I think Murad Watson is really good. I think Alex January makes a big jump. Cole Brevard's played a lot of snaps over the football in Power 4 football. Travis Shaw's done the same. Levon Johnson's got a lot of talent if he's healthy. Texas loves the 2 freshmen. Even I don't know how many snaps we're going to see. But then you combine that with Colin Simmons on the edge, Ethan Burke, Colton Vosick, if he's healthy, will have a big year, in my opinion. Trey Moore can slide in to an edge spot. We'll probably play some of both, linebacker and edge. I can see why David Pollock went down that path, Bobby. And it says something that Pollock thinks that, by the way, because Pollock was really damn good.
Yeah, he is a good player. He was a really good player. I'm not one to take too much into consideration these preseason lists from individuals. But looking back on the whole is more important to me, if that makes sense. Like you get a consensus built around what people feel. Look, I think Texas has a very talented roster at many positions. But how many of them are proven? How many positions at Texas right now are proven? Trey Wisner, kind of. Ryan Wingo, DeAndre Moore aren't necessarily proven. They're good. Maybe Jack Indries is proven at Cal, but he was at a lower level program, theoretically. Colin Simmons and Ethan Burke are proven. Anthony Hill, Leon Glafau are proven. Michael Taft, Manny Muhammad, proven. The difference between Texas and why I think you see some disparity between where some Texas positions are ranked and others is it's not the talent level. Everybody knows Texas has the talent. It's the experience. They haven't. Some people put more emphasis on prior production. Like if you're putting it on prior production, Arch Manning isn't a top 5 quarterback in the SEC right now. Okay. But you going to make that call? Are you going to be the one to be wrong? No, you're going to, you know what I mean? And so I feel like there's a little bit of that going on. Some people, put more emphasis on prior production. Some think they can see behind the game a little bit. And I think Texas gets the benefit of the doubt when that's the case.
And fellas, we got some more super chats this morning. Let's start with this one from Commit. I hope I'm saying that right. King. Hey, OTF, 2 questions. UT offered Storm Knight, class of 28, 6'8", 345 at Judson. What are your early thoughts on him? And number 2, Sark staff wants great talent and great fits. In your opinion, which would they take first? Better talent or better fit?
So on Jai Storm, he plays at Converse Judson, obviously. I think he was about 360 on his visit. Yeah, they're a 6'8", 360, 11-inch hands. I mean, 85-6 wingspan. His body's going to change, obviously, as he gets older, but got a chance to be a really good player. San Antonio actually has some really good players in 27, 28, the safety Eli Johnson, and another DB at Cibolo Steel, Caden Scott, the offensive tackle at San Antonio Roosevelt. So it's a little bit upswing here as far as nationally recruited players in 27 and 28, something to watch there in San Antonio. They got a young edge kid as well. They got some really good 27, 28 kids in the San Antonio area. So something to watch there, first of all. Better talent, better fit. I really think Texas is at the point where it's a combination. It's really a combination.
Ideally.
Yeah. They're not taking many risks right now. I mean, I don't see that with them. And some people are saying, well, what about Nick Brooks thing? Well, Nick Brooks had one thing happen. But if you talk to people at Grayson when he was there, when I went through there last year, I mean, that wasn't a risky thing by Texas. I think Texas is doing a good job because they're getting more kids on campus of being able to fit the talent and the fit together, or combine the talent and the fit together. I don't think if you sign 28 kids, there's going to be 1 or 2 guys where you're like, okay, we're taking the talent over the fit a little bit, but we're saying we're going to put them with our guys in our locker room, and it has a high probability of working out, right, Bobby? It's not a situation where you're taking 6 or 7 guys. Like I thought the A&M 2022 class, that was the issue with that class. You had to have an unbelievably strong culture in locker room when that recruiting class was signed, because there were some guys in there that could go the wrong direction. And that's not what I'm seeing at Texas right now.
I want to say 2 things to answer that. First of all, Storm Knight. If you're 6'8", 345 pounds, Jerry Hamilton, that bed that's behind Jerry Hamilton does not fit you.
Yeah.
So think about how big. I mean, he's got to lie diagonally to fit that bed. That's how big some of these guys are these days. Number 2, talent or better fit. Which one's more important? I want to say this. There's a saying in the NFL. It's TOE, talent over everything. And I think that sort of mentality has to pervade your roster in college football, or you're going to get beat. Because even if they're the greatest fits and the greatest guys in the world, if they don't have the requisite talent, it's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, to Jerry's point, you want both. I think you want both, but I've been around this a long time. I've seen a lot of nice guys lose a lot of football games. And so does it mean that, you can't weed some of those guys out or self-select, and that there's not enough good fits to go around? But, you don't want, I'm a good guy. You don't want me playing football for your team. I'm just going to put it out there. So talent, you can't chinch on talent. You can't. If you do, you're going to get beat. So the bottom line.
Yeah, I think there's levels to it. Like, so if you're at Alabama and Nick Saban, and that's where everybody aspires to be, you have the ability to turn down really talented players that may not be the best fits because you're getting really talented players. And I think Texas is getting very close to being at that same point. I think what's interesting is, and I agree with Bobby, and I think the interesting thing, though, is how many sacrifices you make around it. Because Urban Meyer made too many sacrifices around it at Florida, and he won 2 national championships. But do you think that's how he wanted at the end? No chance.
They're tainted. I mean, no offense, but
and look, maybe Georgia goes and wins a national championship this year, but Kirby's getting close to having too many issues with some really talented players. And so and we'll see if he can recovers from that and gets that thing turned back. But it's never good when people put out tweets that you have more arrests than wins, and especially when you won 23 games in the last 2 years. When they say, "Oh, you still have more arrests than 23 wins," that's not necessarily going the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see. If you're Kirby, you don't want it to keep going that way, and then you end up like Urban, where it didn't end the way you wanted it to. So it's a balance. I think the thing for Texas and Sark right now is they have the ability to be really talented while being picky.
Yes.
And they have to be that you always have to stay consistent with that because we've seen how it can go the other direction.
Too many Blake Monroes on the football roster. Not good.
He doesn't like I'm putting these comments up, I guess.
That is true, Blake. That is true.
I'm taking shots. I'm not even doing anything. I'm over here minding my own business. We got another super chat here, if I can find it, from Jerry's Jack Links. And thank you, Jerry's Jack Links. I asked this last night with Rod B, but want to get y'all's thoughts. What non-blue blood has had the best coaches come through? Could it possibly be Oklahoma State?
Gundy stayed too long, and it's not good in the NIL space for him at Oak State after T. Boone passed away. He's a great coach, though. What he's done at Oklahoma State, at that program, is super, super impressive to me. I think Mike Gundy's a tremendous coach. That it very rarely ends great for those guys, and I don't think it's going to end great for him necessarily at Oak State. And so that'll be what people talk about. But I think people should look at his body of work, and he did an unbelievable job there.
I think when you talk about all time, you got to add a guy like, Les Miles was not I don't know if we would call him a great coach. He did win a national championship, but he was at Oklahoma State. Jimmy Johnson at one time was at Oklahoma State. So, if you're looking longer term than just Jerry probably put the best guy out there for the last 15 years. If you're looking long term, man, I don't know. I don't have what has been a team that has constantly sent its coaches on to a higher level. I don't know that I know that answer. Historically, trying to think.
That have come through DKR. Well, Dabo played at DKR last year, and what he did at Clemson, I've had fun with him. Now he's going to the portal. But I think what Dabo's done at Clemson is about as impressive as anybody in the
but Clemson was like a 1 or 2 in the ACC for decades. They won a national title in the 80s.
In the 80s, but it'd been a long time for them. They've been they'd been kind of a middle program, and to come in there when he was hired, people laughed at it, right? He was a wide receivers coach, and then he goes on to win 2 national championships, and he did so beating Nick Saban. So, pretty impressive.
I don't know that there is another. Maybe I'm missing an obvious one, but I don't know one to sit there.
It turns the chat into a different topic. Art Briles at Baylor did an amazing job of winning football games at a program that was really down. It was all the quarterback
Barry,
evaluation.
that's not the question, though. Jerry, that wasn't the question. The question is what school, non-blue blood, does the best job of producing coaches? So you can't just go one coach and say, oh, I mean, Baylor hasn't had a successful coach other than Art Briles in 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so what program does a good job? It used like Miami of Ohio used to be called the cradle of coaches. They had Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes. They created a bunch of big, I mean, I don't know that they're
Boise State.
Who what's that?
Boise State. You got Chris Peterson, Brian Harsin, Elijah Drinkwitz, just to name a couple. I was sitting there looking at some. Justin Wilcox was another one that came through there. They've had some.
Okay. So I think that we would agree with that one. I think I would agree with that.
That'd be my pick.
Kellen Moore,
Yep.
Saints now head coach.
Good call. Good call there. And some others too. All right. Before we get to our other super chat, Bobby, will you tell everyone about Vaughn Lane one last time?
Yeah, absolutely. When you need to travel between major cities in Texas, you've once been stuck with just two flawed options: fly and roll the dice with airport delays, security lines, and packed terminals just to spend 45 minutes in the air, or you can drive and you lose 5 hours to traffic, construction, and fatigue, arriving stressed and worn out. Now you can choose a third way, Vaughn Lane. You arrive at a high-end hotel terminal, no airport chaos, no parking nightmares, no stress, just a few easy steps and you're boarding in minutes. And what a seat it is, spacious, reclining, wrapped in leather with personal power outlets, fast Wi-Fi, onboard attendants offering complimentary snacks, beverages, and on select trips, full meal service. While you relax or work, the Vaughn Lane operations team is behind the scenes monitoring real-time traffic and adjusting routes to keep you moving efficiently, getting you to your destination rested and on schedule. Now's the perfect time to plan ahead. Booking is open through September, so you can lock in travel for fall football weekends in Austin, business trips to Dallas or Fort Worth, or a getaway to Houston, San Antonio, etc. Vaughn Lane proudly serves Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, and San Antonio. Visit vaughnlane.com and use promo code OTF25 to save $20 off your first ride. Vaughn Lane, elevated regional bus transportation.
Thank you for that, Bobby. And we got another super chat to get to this morning. And this one from Dawson. Thank you, Dawson. Dawson asked, are y'all worried about punt returner?
I'm personally not worried about punt returner. I think Texas has a lot of tremendously talented players. And I've been on record. I think Jonah Williams will factor into this on some level because he's a fearless athlete. So I think he will factor into that. He also has that confidence. He has the hands. He has the ability to play the ball in the air over the shoulder as an outfielder coming up on the ball. And I think he has a little fear. He has a lot of what Silas Bolden has in a much different frame. So I think he could factor in the punt return in the return game early on. But I'm not worried about punt returner because I think Texas has a lot of talent.
I'm totally on board with what Jerry says about Jonah Williams because he's seen him in person. Punt return is one of those positions that you either got it or you don't. You can't manufacture it. Not at a high level, by the way. Like you don't learn to be a better punt returner theoretically. You either got it or you're not. This is the one that Dave actually mentioned, Jerry, and we caught wind of this. You and I did late in spring ball. Daylon McCutcheon also getting some work at punt returner, along with I got to be honest. I mean, I think the odds-on favorite going into the season is DeAndre Moore, right? Until proven otherwise, whether it's somebody that takes over for him. Because DeAndre Moore was the backup to Silas Bolden, but he had a hurt toe all spring. Yeah. So he couldn't do it. So I like Jerry's pick, and I like it a lot because I think Jerry's seen it. And look, it doesn't – like I could have told you Jonte Cook wasn't a real good punt returner after watching him try to field 5 punts. And that's not a knock on him off the field. It's just always like, that's not going to do it at punt returner. You know what I mean? You watch Silas Bolden catch 5 punts and you're like, oh, that guy could be a dude. And I think the coaches see it. I mean, they'll be able to see that kind of thing the same way.
I'm out there. I'm anti any starting receiver being a punt returner.
Why is that? Xavier Worthy was the best one Texas had in a long time.
Yeah, I know. He's got to be special. I don't want one of those guys to get smoked in a punt return, and that's how. I mean, concussed on the first punt return of the game. What does that do for the rest of your game in a big game? Like when Ryan Wing goes back to returning punts that day, first media day, I was like, wow, that's a big long body to hit on a punt return. And how
a lot of legs get mangled in that. Yeah.
How that affects a big game. And some people will disagree with my way of thinking, and that's fine. But he'd have to be really special and be really elusive for me to put him back there as a punt returner. As one of my starting skill guys that's so important.
Was it Jamison Williams at Alabama that got smoked on a punt return in the national championship? Yeah. I can. If
you have a ton of talent on your roster, I think you have the ability to stay out of those situations a little bit more. Because if it's me and I'm playing, and if I see one of the starting wide receivers for Texas out as returning punts, I'm trying to get my kill shot.
Man, that's dark. Jerry Hamilton plays dark.
That's the way the game's played, though. Hell, some people put bounties on people. We've been fined in the NFL for bounties.
Well, we have one other super chat before we close out today, and this one from Courtney Spikes. Thank you, Courtney. What player are y'all excited to see next year that didn't get much playing time this past season?
Not offensive line. I mean, you can't really say you're excited about an offensive line. Parker Livingstone. Who do you got, Jerry? I mean,
Vosick if he's healthy.
Oh, good one.
And Alex January. I think January is going to have a lot of one-on-one opportunities and has a chance to have a sneaky good disruptive season. And Colton Vosick, Rod Babers was talking about the other day, and totally agree. If he ever has a healthy season, his pressure rate is super high. Super high. So if he has a healthy season this year, then you're looking at a guy that's probably going to have 7 sacks, and you're not really counting on him right now. And if you add that to what you already have on the roster, it's scary. Somebody said Christian Clark. That's a good one. Coming off.
I like that.
That's what I had written down. The other one that I want to put out there, and I don't even know if he's going to start, Jerry, is Wardell Mack.
Yeah. Yeah.
The QB kid from New Orleans. Well, that goes. But Wardell Mack, I mean, is it possible he negotiates his way into the starting lineup? If so, then he would be one. There's just this is what we're talking about, though. Texas has so many. It reverts back to what we were saying earlier, Jerry. They have so many possible answers and permutations of answers that it's really kind of ridiculous because, I mean, look, just 3 or 4 years ago, we were like, they can't lose a guy here on offensive line. You know, they can't afford to lose him or else he's gone, you know, or they got no shot. So yeah. I feel that's what people like David Pollock that you were talking about, they see behind the scenes when they go to a football game. Oh, Kobe Black's a great one. That'd be if he starts opposite Manny Muhammad.
Zena staff loves Zena. Just hurt his thumb in the spring, so it cost him some time in the spring. But he was the guy that was mentioned going into the spring, which is interesting. If there's a sleeper out there, a real sleeper amongst that group, man, Ty Anthony Smith.
Ooh.
Because we talk about all the pass rushers, but who's going to be the space linebacker? And who's going to bring some multiplicity scheme-wise that you could almost play as a hybrid safety at times and still have a linebacker on the field? He might be an interesting one.
If there's an injury, if there's an injury to either LaFau or Hill, how does the Texas defense reconstitute?
Yeah.
Right. Good stuff. Pull up that birthday note. That was.
I'm going to let you read it, Bobby, to close it out.
Yeah. Happy birthday from Aaron Hollingsworth. Happy birthday to my buddy Sahil from Mumbai, India. He watches your show every day, and a great way for us to stay connected to UT football across the globe. Sahil, happy birthday, Aaron. You're a hell of a friend for staying connected with somebody across the globe. Congratulations to you both, and hope you guys are having a great day. 86 days away from the University of Texas taking the field against Ohio State on August 30th. Blake, who did we decide was number 86, or who are the 86 guys that we need to mention before we take off today?
Yes, you just put me on the spot. So the current 86 is a walk-on, but let me take a look at who I put over on Texas football. So Tim Campbell was the first one that I put up, and then Monty Lee was the other number 86. Not a lot of 86s over the last 15 years. So it was, it was tough. Had to dig way back today, Bobby.
Tim Campbell, the brother of Earl Campbell.
That's correct.
Yep, absolutely.
A couple things for me. Thanks to producer Matt. Great graphics on Teagan and softball.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And what are we about? 9 hours? 9 hours away from the biggest game in Texas softball history.
Tonight at 7 p.m. ESPN.
This is the biggest game in Texas softball history tonight. Because the chance you have to win a national championship, even if they've had one before, it becomes the biggest game when you get down right to the next one. This is the biggest game in history.
Hey, Jerry, you and CJ and Jeff going to be covering recruiting all weekend. Game plan for that, so people know what is it for you?
Yeah, just to be around. Not just to be around, and we'll see. There's elite camp tonight. It's under the lights, or starts at 4. And then guys will be starting to arrive Friday for OVs, and we'll just be around. And then Sunday when guys leave, we'll talk to those guys. How meaningful are the quotes these days? I mean, but we'll be there to cover it all.
There you go. All right. Well, we will be back same time, same place tomorrow. By the way, be sure to head on over to ontexasfootball.com. Remember, we can't be live all the time, unfortunately, but we got you covered over there. And if you're not a member, use promo code OTFOG when you sign up, and you can lock in a full year for just $39.95. This is a limited time offer. Bobby is hooking y'all up. OTFOG for $39.95 for a full year. That's an amazing deal. And be sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well. Ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live or post content. And speaking of content, what you got later?
Football theory coming later today. Winning drive also coming. We've got a number of different things actually going on because of Jerry's talking about it. A lot of recruiting stuff in and out right now. There's just a lot of nuance that's going on. Make sure you sign up for ontexasfootball.com because Jerry and CJ, they just do, and no offense to anybody else, they just do a tremendous job bringing you guys a feel for what's really going on a recruiting weekend. I mean, I say that with a guy that's been covering college football for a long time and recruiting for a long time. They do a tremendous job bringing you kind of inside the game there.
By the way, we've had a lot of questions in the chat for a live stream during a softball game tonight. We'll leave that up to producer Matt if he wants to hang out for an hour. Maybe we start it in the 4th inning or something, depending on how the game's going.
Woo.
And depending on how the game's going, or we start that thing late, and if it looks like it's going to be a celebration, we have a celebration. We'll see.
I also want to thank Teagan Kavan for coming on, along with Chris Whaley. It was awesome having both of those guests on today. Can't thank them enough. And I also want to thank Von Lane, Huel, Omaha Steaks, Gooder, and Pesty, all for sponsoring today's show. Of course, thank you all for tuning in as well. We'll be back tomorrow morning. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll